Ever wonder what separates a good ad from one that actually works? Well, it often boils down to a single massive question. And today, we're going to tackle that question by diving into the super high stakes world of media planning. Okay, picture this. You've just nailed it. You pitched this amazing, jaw dropping creative campaign. The client loves it, they're thrilled. But then they lean across the table and hit you with the question, the one that separates the dreamers from the doers. And, no pressure, but your answer is about to decide what happens with a cool $100 million. And that exact moment, that's when the media planner becomes the hero of the story. See, it's not just about booking a few ads here and there. Nope, it's about being a master strategist, a chess player really, figuring out how to make every single one of those dollars sweat. So let's break it down. What is media planning, really? Well, you could say it's the art of answering those really tough client questions. But if you want the textbook definition, here it is. Okay, so what does that actually mean? Put simply, it's the master plan. It's all about getting the right message in front of the right people at exactly the right time and place. It's not guesswork. It's a whole series of super smart data-backed decisions. All right, so you've got that huge budget. Now what? Where on earth do you begin? Well, the very first question, and maybe the most important one you'll answer, is who are we even trying to reach? Because let's be real, you can't talk to everybody. You've got to find your people. And how do they find them? They don't just, guess. They use hard data from these big research companies. Take this chart, for example. It's for bottled water users. Now, look, the first two columns are interesting, but that last one, the index, that's where the gold is. See, an index of 100 is just average. Anything over 100 means you're onto something. You've found a group that's more likely to be your customer. And bingo, there it is, 105. That number is our first big clue. Now, I know what you're thinking, 105, that doesn't sound like a lot, but trust me, inside that little number is a huge strategic insight. And here's the big takeaway. This simple piece of data gives us our starting point. We're not just throwing money at the wall to see what sticks. We now know for a fact that women are 5% more likely to be heavy users, and that means we can start focusing our budget where it's going to have the biggest impact. Okay, so we know who we're talking to. Check. Now, the next question is, how do we talk to them? This is where we get to choose our weapons. So every planner has this big decision to make. It's kind of like, do you use a giant megaphone or a laser pointer? You can go with mass media, think TV, big magazines, stuff that hits everyone. Or you can go with specialized media, like a magazine just for skiers or doctors, to hit a very specific target. One builds huge awareness fast, the other is super targeted. And honestly, there's no one right answer. It all depends on your goal. All right, now we get to the really juicy part, the numbers. These are the core metrics that tell you if your plan is actually working and, how you justify spending all that cash. First up, we have reach. Super simple concept. Reach is just how many different people see your ad at least once. Think of it as how wide you're casting your net. But you know this, right? Seeing an ad just one time probably isn't going to make you buy something. That's where our second rule comes in, frequency. Frequency is how often, on average, the people you reached see the ad. This is all about how deep your message goes. So you've got reach and you've got frequency. How do you balance them? Well, you actually combine them. Planners take the reach percentage and multiply it by the average frequency. And that gives them one magic number that represents the total power or weight of their campaign. That number is called gross rating points, or GRPs. And GRPs are like the universal currency in media. It lets you compare an apple to an orange, a TV plan to a digital plan to a radio plan, all using the same language. But here's the thing. A media plan isn't something you just write up and then walk away. No way. The market out there is a battlefield. And a good planner, they're always watching, always keeping score, and always ready to change tactics on the fly. So how do they do that? How do they stay ahead? Well, they use these amazing competitive intelligence tools. Seriously, think of them like spy satellites for the ad world. Services like Nielsen and Kantar, they track pretty much every dollar your competitors are spending on ads. You get to see their whole playbook, almost as it's happening. And with that info, you can find their weak spots, plan your counterattack, and make sure your campaign is the one that comes out on top. So there you have it. You now know the basics of how a media planner's brain works, which means the next time you see an ad, you won't just see an ad. You'll see the strategy behind it. You'll be able to ask yourself, was that a brilliant move designed to reach me right here, right now? Or was it just a total waste of money? Now you get to be the judge. You get to ask, what was the plan?